Before adult responsibilities took over in my life, I used to actively take part in the visual and performing arts, or VPAs for short. From band, to drama, to theater, to choir. I never quite passed the auditions for dance though, no matter how hard I try. Alongside all the rom-coms that I'm keeping up to date with this spring season, are anime centered around the visual and performing arts. And I don't know if you guessed it from the opening bit of this video, but I'm a huge fan of the VPAs. When I was younger as a performer, and nowadays more so as a spectator, but always as an admirer of the arts. Konnichiwa minasan! Watashi wa YONGGI-BAKA desu. Atarashi video e yokoso. As I mentioned earlier, there were a few anime released this spring season centered around the visual and performing arts that caught my attention. But before I deliver that experience to you, first like this video, subscribe, and ring that notification bell, but only according to the music score, of course. The first anime to hit the stage is Heroine Tarumono. Kiroware Heroine to Naisho no Oshigoto. An anime that follows the life of a young girl named Suzumi Hiyori, who kind of reminds me of a slightly older version of someone that we met along the winter. Mannerisms and bushy brows alike. Hiyori recently graduates from middle school and moves to the big city Tokyo to achieve her track ambitions and go to a school that has a good track program. Hey, that doesn't sound like it's related to the VPAs. Choto mateo.
やっぱり東京ってちょっと怖いかも。
To sustain her livelihood in the big city, she gets a part-time job as a manager in training for an idol group, which paid the best for the amount of hours worked. And it's pretty crazy to think that a girl of her age was able to get a manager in training position. It turns out that the group she'd be responsible for is actually a duo, and the two members are classmates of hers. And at first they're kind of entitled brats. How fun.
からいいお友達になれるかもだし。
お前、俺たちのこと知らねえな。お前も俺の足引っ張ってんじゃねえよ。この芋女。
I remember back in 2008 when I first came across K-pop, Big Bang, and I fell in love with the showmanship, the singing, the music, the dancing, not to mention the fact that they had a sea of screaming fans that adored them. I wanted to be an idol too.
フリップのお二人です。
テレビに出てる。
スタジオの盛り上がりすごいです。
Heroine Tarumono takes a somewhat closer look at what it takes to produce a successful idol group, with all the stakeholders that are involved, the hectic schedules, and of course to ensure that the idols are happy. Hiyori gives her 100% to ensure that Lip schedule keeps running smoothly, even if it may take away from the time, mind, body, and spirit that she can dedicate to track. It even has her questioning if she should renew her contract once her contract comes to an end.
さすが東京、さすが時給1500円。でも、負けられん。
Hiyori's experiences as a manager in training captured the roller coaster of emotion that one would feel in her role. So far, I found episode 5 to be the most cathartic and my favorite. If I could, I would rewrite the script a bit differently, playing around with the timelines, and really diving deeper into the characters and their experiences, how they grow as an individual and as a team, in a way that's more meaningful and impactful to audiences.
変わらないようにしよう。アイドー、
Next to hit the stage, Dansu Dansuru. As you could have guessed by its name, it's all about dance. In this case, ballet. And now that I'm no longer in middle school, I don't have to force myself to ignore the artistry of the craft. I can freely say, I like ballet. Well, to watch it, not to perform, because as I've shown, I can't dance. Dansuru follows the life of Murao Junpei, who's an athletic high schooler who had a similar apprehension towards ballet, but after seeing one performance becomes fascinated with the art of ballet, wanting to try it for himself. Only thing is, with Junpei's athletic background, he often relies on his athleticism rather than his formal education that ballet demands. His movements seen as brutish and unrefined to seasoned dancers, especially Mori Ruo, a fellow dancer who grew up with the craft, the precision and grace needed of a ballet dancer becoming second nature to him. Wanting to dance across from Godai Miyoko, a fellow dancer and schoolmate of Junpei's, becomes a driving force for him to continue his endeavor of wanting to learn how to dance, even if he may have to start at the basics. Enrolled in a ballet studio, and under the tutelage of the gorgeous Godai Chizuru and Miyoko's influence, Junpei may just prove that it's never too late to learn how to dance, even if that dance style may be ballet. And if I was surrounded by the Godais, I would want to give ballet a twirl too.
Oi, Baba! 運動神経の塊の俺の何がダメだったんだよ。
練習してきたんでしょ?
Just like Heroine Tarumono, Dansuru had a great 5th episode that focused on the performance of my favorite ballet, Swan Lake. Cliché, I know. It was put on by Chizuru's studio, with Junpei and Miyako as its leads. Though I would have liked more time to be devoted prior to the performance, to better showcase Junpei's journey. Even with the same outcome, I feel that would have better captured his growth and pains, and thematically make for a better narrative for a story that centers itself around the beauty of ballet. Next to hit the stage, the headliner of today's event and what you probably all came here for. With its interesting blend of being an almost reverse isekai, I'll explain in due time. Or you can think of it as time travel. Maybe. Maybe not. Put your hands together and welcome to the stage the music-themed chimera that is Parapi Kome! Chan chan, I chicky chicky ban ban, I chicky chicky chan chan. The OP may be very likely my favorite OP of the anime year, but OP aside, Parapi Kome follows the life of two characters, the first being the titular Shogatsu Kome.
この戦は負ける。数々の仲間を失い、あまたの敵を倒してきた。
A renowned military strategist from ancient China who's reborn anew into modern-day Shibuya. Metaphorically speaking, it's a new world to him, and literally, it's a result of traveling nearly 2,000 years into the future. Isekai? Time travel? All underscored by music.
私の命運も尽きた。願わくは。次の人生は命のやりとりなどない。
Sharing the Parapi Kome spotlight and standing next to him is Tsukimi Eiko.
Be crazy, Tommy, let me shine on you. You gotta see me when you hear my music. I'll be there for you.
Who works at a club by night, and by day she's an aspiring artist, songwriter, and musician, looking to propel her career onto the next stage. She has the talent, she has the looks. All that she's missing is the reach and audience recognition.
誰も私の歌なんか聞いてなかった。私って才能ないのかな。
On what would be the busiest night in Shibuya, Halloween, where crowds flock to the streets to celebrate, Kome is reborn.
なるほど、わかりましたよ。ここが地獄なのですね。
Luckily, he blends in with all of the costume craziness happening around him. On the streets, he's force-fed firewater and pulled into the club where Eiko works at. On the stage, he witnesses a demon dressed in red begin to sing to the audience before her. Head splitting from the never-before-heard noise that we call music, Eiko's voice comes through, and Komi's instantly transfixed on its beauty, even finding a sense of reassurance in the world around him, even though he believes it to be hell. But based on his first introduction to the world that was Halloween, and even when it's not Halloween, who could blame him?
地獄の歌姫、なんと華やかなのでしょう。
The morning after, when Eiko's going home from work, she finds a passed out Kome yammering on about a beautiful voice. She wakes him up, then brings him to her home. Is that really all it takes?
おーい。
なんという素晴らしい歌声。
しょうがないな。
Over the course of a day, Eiko answers all of the trivial questions that Kome has for her regarding the items in her room. Most importantly, her smartphone.
あの長い針と短い針が動くものはどのような意味が？
時計だよ。
英子さん、湯が沸いております。火を止めね。
加湿器だよ。
英子さん、
英子。
英子さん。
パソコン。ごめん、それは私もわかんない。
And as he stands in the light reflecting about his predicament, about how lost and alone he is in the new world, Eiko begins to play a song on her guitar and singing along with it, bringing tears to his eyes.
孔明孔明天下太平戦のない世を共に作ろう
Over the course of the next 2 days, Kome hears Eiko singing a total of 3 times. But that's enough for him to be completely captivated by her voice and encourage her onwards, even though she may not believe in herself. Those 3 times are enough for him to become her tactician, to realize her dreams, and bring her music and voice to the world stage.
才能ないかもって。だから正直もう潮時かなって。
英子さん、自信を持ってください。あなたの歌に救われた人間が目の前にいるのですから。
でも
あなたにはあなたの思いを伝える力がある。
Fantasy elements aside, Parapi Kome is hauntingly real. Well, Zhuge Liang, courtesy name Kongming in Mandarin, was a real person. I hope I said that right.
他にも私清和諸葛縄領あざなを孔明。
As I was writing the script, I feel like I left so much out, and that Parapi Kome deserves so much more of my attention, and your attention, as to how it can make me feel something so deeply.
Now I don't know what to do with myself. Maybe I'm stronger than I think I must live. Love.
But I'm running out of time here. I don't want to keep you for too long, and I know that the majority of people that clicked onto this video have already clicked off. So that being said, I think you know what's next. Chan chan, I chicky chicky ban ban, I chicky chicky chan chan, I chicky 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 ban ban. 今日はこの辺です。ありがとうございます。元気でいてね。じゃあまたね。Between you and me, Parapi Kome is a strong contender for my favorite anime of the year.